what does this day bring? Ata?
Sun all day.
Actually, my app says it's going to rain at noon.
Sun.
Rain!
Sun!
Rain!
Listen, I am going to buy my own boat. Who is with me? Give me my fish.
Hey, you, down here in the bucket.
Me?
Do you see another old man looking at me?
Stop talking and go back to being a fish.
Come and dead me.
I will.
If I jump out of this bucket, I will slap you with my fish. Slap, slap, slap. You have to stroke it, then poke it.
You want to join?
Yes.
Do I get a wish?
No.
You just talk.
I'm sorry. Is that not like cool enough for you?
He would like to apply for a loan.
We can only consider a 3-year payback plan.
You think I will die in 3 years?
No.
Oh, she paused.
Papa.
That fish is very rare. How much?
Priceless.
I need a message first.
The message is, eat me.
We are screwed. Trust me, gambling is like swimming. It's in my DNA.
Where is Kobe?
I miss his Jesus fish.
One thing about being a Olu is we always value the ones we love.
Wow. So, one trip to Accra, and the man has become a poet.
Shut up!
From a multi-billion-dollar video game deal to a revolution on how to sell movie tickets, and also using AI to tell an African sci-fi love story. We are covering the entire spectrum of the film world today. Welcome to the Film Mandate. And in today's stories, Call of Duty movie in the works under a major Paramount Skydance and Microsoft Activision pact. And also TikTok to launch an in-app movie ticket purchasing with Fandango, starting with Tron Ares, and last but not the least, Memories of Princess Mumbi, director on AI and writing his film at the editing stage, I must say. Welcome to the Film Mandate, and I'm Papa O2. Stay tuned. Well, welcome back to the Film Mandate, where I bring to you movie news, reviews, and reactions, both from the African front and the international scene. So thanks so much for joining me for this episode of the Film Mandate. And if you happen to watch the trailer at the beginning, well, it is a project that I was part of, and I'm using this opportunity to make it known to my audience that it's going to be premiering soon at the Silverbird Cinema come September 19th, which is a Friday in Ghana. It's had its film festival circuit around the world, winning a number of awards together with the director Zoe Martinson. So come September 19th on Friday, it will be premiering at the Silverbird Cinemas, both in the Accra Mall and also at the West Hills Mall. So come meet the stars, meet the director herself, and I'm sure afterwards there will be a Q&A section where you can interact with all those who worked on the production. So yeah, thanks so much for watching this trailer. So moving on to our very first story. You know, it's exciting when you hear stories about how, you know, IPs adapted from different sources or mediums or source materials become very successful on screen. And, you know, we've had several like those from books, you know, we've had several from sometimes even an article, just as you have a Top Gun and so forth. But one of the source materials or mediums or IPs that have struggled to finally gain grounds is the video games. And finally, it looks like we are in an era where we are possibly going to experience a renaissance of video game adapted films. Well, one of the video games that for possibly over 10 years they've been trying to get it off the ground to work is Microsoft Activision Call of Duty video game franchise, one of the most successful video game franchise ever. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, after Skydance merging with Paramount, they've been hard at work trying to pull all the necessary properties that they can work with to be able to make their mark on the cinematic, world. Well, they have finally sealed the deal with Microsoft Activision for their Call of Duty video game franchise to, adapt it into a movie. Let's read an article briefly published in the ScreenRant website, and this is what it has to say: that after 10 years of false starts, a Call of Duty movie is officially happening. So let me just go straight to this part. Paramount announced today, and by today, I'm actually covering this article 2 days late, so pardon me. So today is 2 days ago. So Paramount announced today that under a new deal with Activision, the company will develop, produce, and distribute a live-action feature film based on Call of Duty. The movie will feature hallmarks of the games, including the brand's rich narrative and distinctive style, with the film hyped as being an authentic and exciting experience. David Ellison, the chairman and CEO of Paramount Skydance Corporation, shared the following statement about the deal, citing Top Gun Maverick as an example of how they will approach the film. Let me highlight it. It looks too dark. So as a lifelong fan of Call of Duty, this is truly a dream come true. From the first Allied campaigns in the original Call of Duty through Modern Warfare and Black Ops, I've spent countless hours playing this franchise that I absolutely love. Being entrusted by Activision and players worldwide to bring this extraordinary storytelling universe to the big screen is both an honor and a responsibility that we don't take lightly. We are approaching this film with the same discipline and uncompromising commitment to excellence that guided our work on Top Gun Maverick, ensuring it meets the exceptionally high standards this franchise and its fans deserve. I can promise that we are resolute in our mission to deliver a cinematic experience that honors the legacy of this one-in-a-million brand, thrilling longtime fans of Call of Duty while captivating a whole new generation. So I particularly like this statement that has been made by David Ellison, who is the head of Paramount Skydance. And why am I particularly excited about this? Because he is a fan, and not just a fan, but he's also been in the movie business for, I think, close to a decade or even more. So he is not just coming on board as just a fan of the IP, but together with his experience, having produced the very successful Top Gun Maverick, I believe that maybe debatably so, but I believe that this particular franchise is perhaps in the safest hands as possible for a film, because he's a filmmaker as well, and he's also a fan of the production. And seeing the fact that, yes, he is not going to do the production himself because he's an executive, but regardless, having successfully roped in a number of productions from the Mission Impossibles and then also with the Top Gun Maverick, it shows how serious he is with this production. If you take a look at the number of IPs they have brought together under their banner of Paramount Skydance, it does prove that this new Paramount, the Skydance Corporation, means serious business than ever before. And you look at how they are spreading they are trying to cover a number of different aspects of entertainment, from sports, that is the UFC, shelling about $7.7 billion for the period of 7 years to be the sole distributor, or to showcase the UFC on their Paramount Plus platform, to bringing in the Duffer Brothers from the Stranger Things franchise. All the moves they have made so far, even talking to Tom Cruise. And another story that I will cover hopefully soon is also a story about even Will Smith going to make films for Paramount. It means that they are trying to play the game very well, and it is of no surprise that it would go for one of the most successful franchise like Call of Duty, especially for him being a fan of that game franchise and seeing where the landscape of filmmaking is going now. So you look at what Warner Brothers is doing now with their Mortal Kombat, what they did successfully with Minecraft, and so many other studios also doing the same, Super Mario Brothers and, all those. So it is indeed, I think, a good strategy for them to take this particular franchise and then, turn it into a movie. And as it stands now, we only have the announcement that has been made is just on one movie, but obviously I don't think it's just on one movie. Maybe their process is to take it a step at a time. So just take one movie and make it first, and then when it is successful or when a full plan is laid out, then they will know where to go from there. But what we know at this moment is that not only will the deal or the pact with Microsoft Activision cover just films, but it will also expand to TV series as well. So even before they bring in someone to helm the entire franchise as the head honcho of that particular IP, they know what they want to do with the franchise. So, but it's one of the franchise I believe that for him being a fan, that is David Ellison himself being a fan, he would want to pay careful attention to before it ends up not being what he has envisioned it to be. So I'm sure he's going to bring in the best of producers and the best of filmmakers, directors to helm this particular production, because it is one of the most successful franchise ever, having made $30 billion as of 2022 as a result of selling more than 500 million copies of the game. And we are talking about a franchise that began in 2003. So it means that there is a huge cult following for this particular franchise. And him being a fan as well, I'm sure he wouldn't want to mess up what this franchise have been able to build successfully over the years. Yes, if it doesn't work with the film aspect, people can still go back to their game. But I'm sure looking at him being the new head honcho of the entire corporation of Skydance, Paramount Skydance, he would want to have a win in this video game adaptation film space, to be able to put his company on a pedestal like that of what we have of Warner Brothers and that of the Apples and Disney and all those other big film studios. So obviously, I think he means business and he's not going to play with this. And one of the things he did say, which gave me much hope and happiness about the fact about this particular franchise he signed a deal with, Microsoft Activision, is the fact he stated something that, he is a self-proclaimed lifelong fan, and he said that we are approaching this film with the same discipline, uncompromising commitment to excellence that's guided our work on Top Gun Maverick. And for all those who watched Top Gun Maverick, you know how much it did make, not because people were just fans of, Top Gun, because Top Gun had been in existence. The first movie had been in existence for over 30 years. And then around 30 years later, Top Gun Maverick was made, and it made over $1 billion, not because of just the fans, being, diehard fans of the first one, but the film was actually well made. The excellence with which Tom Cruise approached his project, and they did so well with Top Gun. So for him to have made this statement means that he intends to, make sure that the best of approach is given to the, Call of Duty game. And I'm happy about that because so much of time you have a lot of big studios shelling big money to acquire video game IPs, and they don't give it the best treatment. But it looks like we live in an era now where video games are doing well in whichever space it finds itself, from like the Fallout series doing very well, made very well. And also you have the one with Pedro Pascal. Why am I blanking out on the name? But you have a number of video games, whether on the streaming platforms or on the silver screen, they are being made well, and it looks like it is hitting the right places that audience want it to that audience can relate to. So it is indeed good that his intention is to give it the needed attention to make it as good or even better than what they did with Top Gun Maverick, and that is indeed exciting to know. Now, the potential storylines, it was never said in the article, but experts of this game have analyzed that it could go in two ways, either with the modern warfare where it's gritty and modern, which perhaps would work with a lot of audiences nowadays, seeing how, even though this film is not John Wick, it's modern and gritty, but not a video game franchise, but it looks like it is a kind of story that modern audience gravitate towards. Or they could go back to the Black Ops story of the CIA conspiracy and zombies. And the good thing with conspiracies and zombies, you have the Pedro Pascal-led TV series within that vein. So it does mean that whichever way they go, it's a win-win for them. But the question would be, who would actually be the best person to helm this particular, story? And is it possible that it may even go with an original story, but set within the world of the Call of Duty franchise? That is also a possible or potential way they may want to go in. So it is quite an interesting development, seeing that even they have over 30 titles under this particular video game, banner. So there's a lot of stories they can pull out from, or even choose one and work on it from there. So it is quite an interesting aspect of go. And with regards to CIA conspiracies, you have similar movies being produced by themselves, that is Paramount themselves, and that is the Mission Impossible films, which deals with, secret service, CIA agents and all those. So it is not outside their wheelhouse. Now the question would be getting the right, the best writer to, or first of all, start weaving with the best producer. Who can be the best producer? Maybe someone in the likes of the Jerry Bruckheimers, or maybe somebody else. But regardless, you need a good producer to helm this property, to bring on the necessary and the right team. They bring in the best of writers. And since they are looking at not just a movie, but they're also looking at a series, they would have to have a writer's room and see whether they would want to build a separate, universes for the TV and from even whether they would even want to build a universe in the first place. That's also something they would have to talk about. And whether they would also, if they intend to build a universe, is it going to link the TV series to the movies, or the movies will be a separate universe on its own, such that whatever happens in the movies doesn't affect what happens in the TV series? So those are questions I'm sure they'll be throwing about once they get a producer on board. So the producer will be key to the success of this production, a producer who can develop this story better with the director and the best of writers. So I think that is something they would have to really look at. And I know fans are excited about this because since 2015, they've been trying to get this thing off the ground and it has never succeeded. And finally, you have a studio who is bent on being, making the best out of this production. And I think it is something that we are looking forward to. I was talking about The Last of Us, Pedro Pascal's The Last of Us. So looking at the success of all these particular franchises like Fallout, Minecraft movie, Super Mario Brothers, do you think this is the right time to embark on a project like the Call of Duty? Whatever your thoughts may be, kindly leave it in the comment section below. So moving on from a movie franchise, a video game adaptation being worked on at Paramount Skydance onto the TV screens. Well, all these films will definitely end up possibly in the cinemas, or if it doesn't, it will end up on the streaming services. But if it does end up in the cinemas, well, fans would have to buy tickets and go to the cinemas to watch it. And there have been several, digital platforms where you can buy these tickets and, and go and attend these films and go and watch these films. But one of the things that a new social media, a social media corporation is trying to do, which would indeed, be very competitive to the digital platforms that just sell tickets, is TikTok, embarking on launching an in-app movie ticket purchasing service with Fandango. And it looks like this is one of the genius plans ever that a social media platform is embarking on. So let's take a look at an article published in TikTok, and this is what it has to say. That TikTok to launch in-app movie ticket purchasing with Fandango, starting with Tron Ares, Disney's Tron Ares, which is releasing in October, I think in October of this year. So Fandango will partner with TikTok on a movie venture that will let users purchase movie tickets directly in-app. The first of its kind deal will be run through TikTok Spotlight, a vertical launched by the Chinese company in 2024 to specifically highlight new movies and TV shows. Under the Fandango partnership, users will be able to purchase seats on the ubiquitous social platform. The first title covered by the deal is Disney's forthcoming Tron Ares, a sequel starring Jared Leto. In terms of the TikTok user interface, the purchase link will manifest as a get tickets button. So at Fandango, our mission has always been to connect fans with the movies they love, wherever they are, said Claire Ripstein, SVP of Marketing and Partnerships, adding that the deal was a powerful step in meeting audiences in their daily digital lives, making it easier to turn the excitement of discovering a movie into the instant gratification of securing your tickets in advance with no lines and no waiting. So Isaac Best, TikTok's global head of distribution partnerships, said the company was thrilled to collaborate with Fandango on our first movie ticketing integration powered by TikTok Spotlight, enhancing fan engagement and giving audiences a seamless path from discovery to the big screen. Fandango asserts 50% of domestic TikTok users have discovered a new movie coming to theaters on the platform, and 36% are inspired to take action. In 2023, TikTok claimed it had over 150 million active users. Tron Ares, co-starring Jeff Bridges, Evan Peters, and Greta Lee, hits theaters nationwide on October 10th. Yeah. So that is quite an innovation, I must admit. And I think it is genius, for TikTok to embark on this particular initiative is genius, because sometimes having several apps becomes a little daunting when you discover a film on one platform and you have to switch between one app onto the other. You now have to also try and remember the title of the film you saw and then type it correctly in the ticketing app and buy all, those with good memory, it will work seamlessly without a hitch. But for those who may not even know exactly how to pronounce certain titles, it will become a stress. And what if even your internet, it takes quite some time for your app to load? All these things may disrupt the viewer's zeal in wanting to even go and watch the movie. Albeit it's not as stressful as going to the cinema yourself and buy the ticket, or maybe being in line and buy an advance ticket whatsoever. Well, TikTok has moved this to another level, which I think is the most genius idea any social media platform could have thought of. I'm surprised that YouTube didn't capitalize on this, since it became the video, streaming platform way before even TikTok ended up being a social media brand as it is today. So I would have thought that maybe this idea could have been something that that YouTube could have integrated into their system, particularly for the film studios to do that. But all the same, it shows how innovative and forward-thinking TikTok as a social media platform is. And for them to integrate it with one of the leading ticketing apps in the world, that is Fandango, that is quite genius. And as to the details of the partnership, I do not know, but I think it's one of the most smart ways to go about it. Fandango is a recognized brand, or possibly the leading brand when it comes to ticketing, particularly in the North American, continent, and maybe I'm sure Europe as well. So being a recognized brand with regards to ticketing app, it is very easy for people to know that this is an authentic place where you can buy movie tickets, without being afraid of being duped whatsoever. So I think it's a smart move to have done it with them. And I'm sure the film studios will be excited, because TikTok is really, I think, is now the leading social media platform with regards to the numbers. And a lot of people now are discovering films on that platform. So what a smart way to make it easy that having discovered a film, the option to buy a ticket once I think I'm sold with regards to whether a trailer or maybe a promotional video, I would just have to just click on the whatever button that shows up, get tickets button that shows up, and just buy my tickets without switching up. So I think it's one of the smartest things that a social media platform has embarked on, and it's going to be big. I can tell you for a fact that it's really going to be big. It's going to make it easier for the studios to have their tickets, bought, and I'm sure the studios are excited about this in particular. So starting with Tron Ares, that is quite Tron. I think that is a month from next month. People will be buying. So already, I'm sure it's already been launched. So beginning from this month onwards, people will be buying, and I'm sure the data will point as to how successful this launch is becoming. And already, for about 100% of people who have been looking at discovering new films on the TikTok platform, 50% is said to have taken interest, and 36 have taken the action to buy tickets. So now it will even be much easier and increase from 36 to even the 50%, because then you wouldn't have to switch apps. You can just easily buy it on the same platform and not face the stress of switching apps whatsoever. So I think this is one of the most genius moves to monetize, massively the hashtag film talk and the movie talk, hashtag movie talk community on the social media platform. So it is a brilliant move, I must say. It is indeed a brilliant move. So let me know what you think about the future of movie marketing. What does it mean for the traditional marketing playbook? Whatever your thoughts may be, kindly leave it in the comment section below. Yeah, so AI now seems to be an integral part of every aspect of our lives, with so many predictions of AI taking over certain industries completely. Some too may take time, but regardless, one of the benefits of AI to the film industry in particular is how it has the potential to cut down massive, costs for a filmmaker who may not have enough money to even hire an individual to do extensive visual effects, let alone even be able to shoot it on real life locations. Well, AI has come to stay, and one filmmaker has decided to embark on this to make that a possibility. And as a matter of fact, he has done it. And this individual is Damien Hauser, who has made a movie called Memory of Princess Mumbi, an Afrofuturistic sci-fi romance from Kenya. And this we can find in an article published in the Hollywood Reporter. And let's take a quick read at it. So it says that Memory of Princess Mumbi, director on AI and writing his African sci-fi romance in editing stage. Damien Hauser discusses his fourth feature, which is hitting Toronto after premiering at Venice, Afrofuturism, Black Panther, and the future of AI. I don't believe it will replace artists. And this is written by George Cizalai. And so there's a screenshot of part of the film that integrates both actual footage and also, AI enhanced background. So the buildings in the background, which seems like a skyscraper, some sort of high-rise buildings made out of wood on a hill. So that is quite an interesting, but it's actually also a mockumentary. So it has a realistic feel to it, as if it's actually a documentary, but integrated with a story. So let's read it. Swiss Kenyan filmmaker Damien Hauser, after the long rains, Blind Love, new feature, Memory of Princess Mumbi, world premiered in the Giornate degli Autori, pardon my pronunciation, or Venice Days program, the independent parallel section of the Venice Film Festival, the sci-fi romance mockumentary, which is set in a futuristic Africa and explores such themes as memory, finding happiness in a tragic world, and the importance of small moments. Next screens at the Toronto International Film Festival, starting on Friday. In 2094, aspiring director Kuve Abraham, played by Abraham Joseph, films a documentary on the Great War of the 2070s, which erased modern technology and revived kingdoms, says a synopsis in the movie. Expecting to find despair in Umata, the heart of the war's aftermath, he instead discovers a village that has found peace. There he meets Mumbi, Chandra, played by Chandra Apondi, who shows him the beauty in everyday moments. Samson Waithaka plays a prince who promised to marry Mumbi, creating a love triangle. Yeah, so let's just read. He says something very interesting in the article. Yes, I'd like us to read it further. So Hauser's use of AI in Mumbi also allowed him to explore what AI means for the future of filmmaking in the process. THR talked to the director about his use of AI and his views on the technology's future role in film. How did you start including AI in Memory of Princess Mumbi? I was generating a lot of AI images just for fun and to see what is possible. At the beginning, it was very random, but I tried to connect those themes, including why I use AI, the use of AI, why I use AI, and why it is part of the whole story. And for me, the reason lies in what I tried to do with this film. I tried to make a film which AI couldn't do, because AI is always based on films that we already made and know. So since you used AI for the film, I wanted to ask you about your take on the debate about it. Some people are worried that AI is a danger to creativity and creators. Others see it as a useful tool. What do you think? Right now, to me, it is very much a tool. I've been making films since I was 7. When I was younger, I had more knowledge about VFX, but I didn't have the tools. But right now, that becomes easier and easier. I was able to make this film where I did a whole VFX myself, and it was very much a tool. I am scared when it comes to, I hope it doesn't replace the whole thing. I don't believe it will replace artists. It will affect some jobs, but at the same time, even if AI creates the perfect movie, once we see the perfect movie, we yearn for something else. Therefore, I don't think we are replaceable because we get bored by what we see at some point and we search for something new, and AI can't give us something new. That's quite interesting. So that is him in your short. That is Damien Hauser in your short, the Swiss Kenyan filmmaker. So how long did the editing and effects work take you on Mumbi? I started editing it in February last year, and I finished editing and the whole post just weeks ago. Of course, I didn't work constantly. There was a time for 2 months where I had like a list where I told myself that each day I'll do 10 VFX shots. And so I was just hustling throughout the whole days. Those were the most intense 2 months because I just wanted to finish this thing. But one reason that post-production took so long was the way I shot the film. I shot it like a documentary out of 44 hours of footage, which were different types of scenes and conversations. So it wasn't repetition. There was no repetition there. So I could have done a completely different film. And it gave me a lot of freedom in editing. But as a result, I feel I really wrote the film in editing. And the reason post took so long was because I constantly worked on the story and reshaped it to keep cutting it down and making sure it was not boring. Did you ever have Afrofuturism in mind when making Mumbi, or even big budget films along the lines of Black Panther? No, I didn't. I didn't think of it like that. When I shot it, I don't even know what kind of future the film is. I guess it is just an African sci-fi film. It is very much an experiment. Sci-fi films are usually, when you think of those big films, made for the audience because you are investing a lot of money and therefore you have to kind of play it safe as well. You can't experiment that much. And before I made this film, I was asking myself, how much should I experiment with the film? I knew if I could use AI as a tool, I would have complete freedom to make a film that is very much niche or which is very specific. I thought that's maybe what makes the film unique. Well, so I'll end the article here. It's quite, I'll end the article here. But I like the aspect of what he did. He did say a couple of things more, and I think it does actually make sense in the sense that he did speak about the fact that a lot of films of this nature, especially that is represented, if you read other articles, that is represented on the world stage is usually films made by, someone from outside the country partnering with people, or even an African film made on the continent by foreigners, and he did speak a lot of all these things. But one of the things he did stress on, which I do agree, is the fact that AI is leveraging the game for all filmmakers. If you can just afford to even subscribe, afford a subscription fee to some of these AI, you can make your own film. That is, if you feel like integrating real footage with AI, you could do that. If you also feel like doing AI from scratch, a movie using AI from scratch, you can also do that. So it has sort of leveraged the game for all of us filmmakers who want to make films and possibly may not have $1 million budget to make that happen. So that is quite an interesting or a realistic aspect that he himself has been able to achieve by incorporating AI in the backgrounds of his films. And you're looking at a film that he had 44 hours worth of footage. And at a point in time, he didn't know what to do. So in using AI, he was able to reshape the entire film, how it's supposed to look like at the end. Initially, just as he said, he didn't even know how the future of this film would look like. He didn't even think that the idea was going to be Afrofuturism, as he did say to the Hollywood Reporter. So it is quite an interesting aspect, because I like the idea that he also stressed on the fact that AI would more often than not pull from resources of films that it has scoured over the internet, and will pull those ideas. So for the film he wanted to make, he realized that he couldn't do it himself. So he has to keep on working on different concepts, using AI to shape up the story of what he has in mind. And I like the fact that indeed it will not necessarily replace the artist, but then it will affect certain jobs, but it won't replace the artist totally. That's what is hoping for. And that's what we are all hoping for, that it won't replace us necessarily, but will be a tool to help us enhance whatever stories we want to tell. So that is quite an interesting thing. And I liked how he used it, how he used it innovatively. If you do watch the trailer, you can attest to how brilliant of a film he has made, and it is really exceptional. It feels very documentary, but then you get to know it's so obvious. They use the AI in the film as a tool. So you have a filmmaker trying to enhance certain shots with AI, and it's very interesting. And I like how he built that world. So, and as usual, just as the princess of the memory of Princess Mumbi does speak of themes of memory, identity, and love, and how his own personal life of tragedy did inspire him to write a story way back when he was around 7 years old. And I think it is and he has a very optimistic look towards life, and that is quite amazing, a very optimistic look towards life. And that is something amazing. And looking at what he's been able to achieve so far, having this film actually premiere at Venice, a parallel event, toward Venice Days or something, it is quite an interesting. I'm happy for him that now this thing is receiving much attention than ever. And it looks like today being Friday, it will be premiering, it will be showcased or screened at the Toronto International Film Festival as well. And I'm excited that, an African is doing something marvelous. The film is brilliant. You would have to watch the trailer for yourself to judge for yourself what I'm talking about, but it is brilliant. If you watch how he's been able to do the film, it is, yes, you could sense that there are AI enhancements somewhere, but it's very difficult to trace it. I can guarantee you it's very, very difficult. And it's brilliantly done. The color temperature of the film, the coloring of the film, it feels very real, feels very documentary-like, just as he perceived it to be. And I can guarantee you would enjoy it if you watch the trailer. Very, very interesting. And the world building, it's amazing. The world building is amazing. Damien is perhaps one of the directors to look at, the African directors to look at, in the future. So I like that, the background of a romantic sci-fi, excellent. And it's done to fit within the African space, not like a hyper futuristic concept like what we find in the Black Panther. This fits within the world of Africa, and he did it so brilliantly well. If you watch the trailer, honestly, I'll be looking forward to seeing the mockumentary when it's finally released, and I'm sure it will do marvelously well. It will do marvelously well. So let me know what you think about what Damien has said concerning using the AI as a tool to shape his story during the editing stage. And looking at how we started with the big story of Call of Duty being nabbed by Paramount Skydance in a pact with Microsoft Activision, to TikTok using its platform to sell tickets, which is a genius move. and also, a young African, Damien, who is a Swiss Kenyan, using AI to shape his story. Let me know what you think about how this is empowering even the African voices like Africa to tell their stories, their unique stories, and compete on a global stage. Let me know your thoughts on this. So yeah, that is quite an exciting development for today. But today being a Friday, I'm not going to leave you to go without letting you know which films are actually screening in the cinemas today. So let's start with films screening in Ghana. Since I'm Ghana and the site I have access to. Yeah, so starting with the Silverbed Accra Mall, Ghana. The film screening today or premiering today, we have Baji. I think is a Hindi film from India. And you also have Madarasi, which also is an action indie film, which will be premiering today. Also, we have The Conjuring Last Rites, and then Gummy and the Living Things, all premiering today. And for films that have already been in the cinemas for about 1 week and more, you have Caught Stealing, you have The Roses, which actually now I remember the name of the lady who stars in it. So it's actually Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman, that's the name I've been looking for a while. And you also have a Black Star Films movie, a biopic, which is called Legacy Africa. And then you have Red Sonja, which premiered, I think, 2 weeks ago. Now, you also have Nobody 2 still in the cinemas and Revelations in the cinemas. And you also have A Kiss Too Late and Weapons in the cinemas. Now, before I started this full stream, I did show you a trailer of The Fisherman that will be premiering in the Silverbed cinema soon. Well, they have updated their website, and there you have it. You have The Fisherman in the midst of other films, which would also be premiering about 2 weeks from today. So that's in your short. You have Ricky Adelaita, the main actor, Endurance Grant, Kiki Romi, and William Lamptey, all starring in this film. And listen, you already have 42 votes and a 4.4, rating. So come on, guys, let's go to the cinemas and go and support this film. Let's make it a cultural event. Let us make it the biggest Ghanaian film ever, shown, making a big box office. But let's go in the numbers and support this film because it's entertaining, it's fun. It's not because I'm part of the production. You have to watch it yourself and attest to that. So, yeah, coming on September 19th, it will be premiering in the cinemas. And it's just 1 hour, 47 minutes. So you can watch it multiple times if you so choose. Yeah. So all too soon, before I even go, let me still go to the worldwide and see what films will be showing wherever you may be in the world over, so that you can make a pick of the choice of movie you would want to watch. So on the Rotten Tomatoes website, let's take a look at a number of films that are also screening worldwide or premiering worldwide. You have The Conjuring again, The Baltimoreans. You also have Twinless, The Threesome, The Big Screen. They set it on the big screen, Hamilton, The Cut. Also, Light of the World, which is an animated movie about Jesus' story, Baji 4, and then Preparation for the Next Life and Expedition Greenland, all premiering today. There are also several ones also in the list, of films here that you can, take a look at and check which cinemas near you will be screening any of them. So I'll be leaving the links to all these productions or these films that will be screening in the description below for you to take a look at. So all too soon, I have to bring this to a close, and thanks so much for joining me for this episode of the Film Mandate. I'm really happy that you've been with me throughout the week and testing out this live streaming that I've been doing for the Film Mandate. So I'll be coming your way again soon with another exciting episode of the Film Mandate. I'll see you soon.